Herzlich willkommen zurück hier auf der Landing Stage. Ja, wir haben jetzt jemanden auf der Bühne, der tagtäglich daran arbeitet, Hochschule neu zu denken und das auch in einem ziemlich großen Maßstab. Sven Schütt ist bei uns, ist der CEO der IU Internationalen Hochschule mit über Hunderttausenden Studierenden, die größte private Hochschule in Deutschland. Und digitale Lehre, KI in der Bildung, neue Formate, die probieren da eine Menge aus, wo vielleicht andere auch noch diskutieren. Und Sven bringt uns deswegen heute hier auf der Bühne so ein paar Einblicke aus der Praxis mit und stellt die Frage, wie geht denn Innovation wirklich aus seiner Sicht im Hochschulalltag mit KI, mit Haltung? Schön, dass du bei uns bist, Sven. Herzlich willkommen.
Thank you very much for having me. And thank you very much for having me. And this is the most pivotal moment, maybe in human history, at least for me personally. This whole AI wave is something that not only shapes education, but the entire society. I love to talk in the context of education of amplified intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. And this is at least what we believe this is all about. What I hope to cover a bit is very briefly also about IU, how we developed into Germany's largest university, then what AI means for education, how we apply it, and where this is all heading, and also give a bit of my perspective of how everybody can navigate this wave. And coming to this wave, this is the fastest transformation humankind has ever experienced. There are many superlatives that you can read. For me, the best image is this is the combination of the Industrial Revolution, the invention of the computer, the internet, and the iPhone compressed in a few years. And last week I had the privilege of being in San Francisco, and when you talk to the people there, it is the fastest growth in venture capital money, close to 100% growth year on year. It is now 50% of all venture capital money in the world is invested in AI companies. It is the fastest adoption we've ever seen. I mean, as you all know, OpenAI grew to 100 users in record time, will be at 1 billion users until the end of this year, around 3 times faster than TikTok. And it is also the fastest disruption of the job market. We are just seeing this, but at least seeing early glimpses. And what does this mean for education, and how can you navigate this here, and how do we do this? Always start with why. This is our mission and vision, and we defined this before the age of AI, but I deeply believe it is the best mission also for this new opportunity. So everybody can access education to grow is our vision, and our mission is kind of the flip side of this: empower people across the globe with the most personalized education. Obviously, when you personalize education, you reduce barriers, and this is how you can democratize education. And I deeply believe talent is ubiquitous, but opportunity is less so. And contributing to more access to education is something that we are now able to do much more. A bit on our story. I joined back in 2010. Also Philip, who's here. Back then, we had the pleasure of working together for a couple of years. And since then, we developed towards Germany's largest university. We now also operate in the UK and Canada. And I'm often asked, what is the secret sauce? What is is there any killer feature? No, there is none. However, it is relentlessly focusing on, in the end, our mission, or that means in the end the students. So to really reduce all hurdles, try to do our best with personalizing education and thereby making education more accessible. And we do so by, on the one hand, providing access to non-traditional students. So for Germany, that is students without A-levels. So we roughly now educate half of them, of entire Germany. We over-index on students for non-academic households, roughly 50% more than traditional universities, so 70%. As mentioned, we've been the first to employ AI at scale. So we did this now 3 years ago, before the ChatGPT moment, with GPT 2.0 back then, and back then only in our English programs. Obviously, this has developed, and I will cover this. And we also try our best to reduce financial hurdles. We are a private university and developed a number of models, our dual study model, as well as our Study Access Alliance, which is an initiative. We now provide 2,000 African students for free with online education, which is very dear to me personally. And at least one further thought, it is very strange that a private university where you have to pay tuition can become Germany's largest university. There are, in the end, two opportunities. Obviously, we not only have to outvalue existing particular public solutions, I guess most of you have this background, but we also need to compensate the loss of the subsidy. And this is also something that kind of drives us, but obviously that also shows there is huge value to be created in improving educational experiences. With this, coming to AI, yesterday I had the privilege to meet Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI. I don't know whom of you don't know him. Look him up, it's very worthwhile. And he is particularly stressing this risk, and humans tend to be very bad at exponentials. Also myself having background in physics, I also have my challenges in how to extrapolate exponential functions, and it is more or less the fuck where we are there. We see that the current RIM models, 03 or Gemini 2.5, are at or beyond the performance, at least of most humans. I definitely don't belong to the top 0.2% of top coders, although I can code a bit. And also, I'm not sure whether I belong to the 10% of elite high school mathematics. I guess not. And I also, at least definitely not across disciplines, don't belong to the experts who, it's this MLU test, were now 03 roughly scores as at the level of PhD experts in their specific field, which is crazy, and obviously it's May 2025. We're going to see a development in this year and the next year, and it's really difficult to foresee where this leads us. And as I said, if you want to think more on the gloom side of this, and there are many challenges, then have a look at Geoffrey Hinton. It's really worthwhile to expand everybody's horizon. However, there are many great use cases, and I deeply believe that education is among the top 3 sectors that, at least with the current level, will benefit and transform. And a simple underlying reason is what Bloom did now roughly 30 years ago, that showing that one-on-one tutoring significantly increases educational outcomes. So back then, around 2 sigma, that means roughly 2 grades improved with a one-on-one tutoring in comparison to a traditional classroom setup, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it, how you can personalize education, and hence, with this AI-driven personalization, we can go even beyond it. It can be 24/7. It can cover every subject and thereby shape education much better and actually shape the learning process itself. When we think about university education, at least, that a large fraction of the learning happens outside of the classroom. Obviously, this is the model. And now we suddenly have a complementary tool that can shape this process outside of the classroom. And however, at the same time, obviously what we need to learn is changing very fast. Nobody really knows what kind of skills will be necessary in the future, but definitely, yeah, skills like creative thinking, but also learning how to learn, and obviously the application of this technology or the value creation with this technology. And last but not least, obviously everything else regarding internal processes will be relevant for us educators as well. The good thing, and this is what I deeply believe, is that, as I mentioned in the beginning, this is kind of amplifying human intelligence, and the use cases in education are most likely the most amplifying parts how we can improve student success. So that everybody now needs to do something. Normally it's Menti, but now it's Slido. I hope that works. So please take out your phones, and so we are a little bit more interactive. Also feel free to ask any questions in the chat or here in the room that I would also include. But just to see to what extent do people use AI daily, and I interpret this a little bit while I talk. It's maybe a bit sad, but at least this is kind of the technology that I communicate most through the day, at least through the work day. At the weekend, I still communicate, luckily, more with my family. And yeah, I'm experimenting to see a big potential. Obviously, let's see how that develops. We see a huge divergence in usage of AI. Actually, students are by far the most active use cases. We collaborate a bit with OpenAI, and just recently, OpenAI has launched their education practice, although they're their primary users by far. Over 80% of students across the globe now use OpenAI and other LLMs. It's still predominantly OpenAI. Let's see, Google is coming. And I'm personally very optimistic about Google in the sense of, they have a great opportunity to win. Obviously, I'm cautiously optimistic when I need guidance. But there's still skeptics. And this is another new illustration of kind of not the digital, but the AI divide. And maybe we can go to the next Slido. Yeah. And obviously, this is something that everybody is worried about. And when you think about this, and let's see what comes out, one realizes that, yes, there is a huge change coming. I do believe that there is, in the foreseeable future, a world in which we will see this augmented intelligence. That means humans collaborating with this technology to overall create more value. However, as mentioned, I've been in San Francisco last week. There are every 10th car, at least that is what I felt, is now Waymo without a driver. And it's a strange feeling. There are some occupations that will shift significantly. And yeah, as you see here, and this is self-reported, we are around a third or so, if I do kind of an average of the tasks that most likely will be able to be automated, or even in higher fraction, which is, on the other hand, also a great experience. So we can all increase our potential, but when we extrapolate this to also our students, this means that it is just a different world we will educate them for. Maybe we can go back to the original presentation. And wonderful. So now let's come to how do we at IU use this? In the former stage, that was already mentioned. Our AI companion is called Cynthia. She's actually a real person. Maybe we can go one slide further. Sorry, okay. Now I can press again. Okay. And just to show you what Cynthia can do, I present a pre-video.
Let me introduce you briefly to my main capabilities and how students benefit from the tailor-made learning experience. With question answering, you can ask questions about the course book content 24/7, whenever you need it. Ask me the question and I will answer, showing which part of the course book is relevant so that you can read them again yourself. Every answer is double-checked by humans, and you can see whether that has already been done. Pre-assessment is an interactive quiz feature that will allow you to test your knowledge and identify potential gaps about the course topics after enrollment. I will guide you through questions and adapt based on your responses. Then I will show you your results. In the trainer function, I will give you exam-like questions, perfectly adjusting to the difficulty level you need automatically. Questions will come both as multiple choice and open-ended. Post-response, you will see quantitative feedback and qualitative feedback. This service will soon calculate your readiness for the exam and much more. Reading the course book is so 20th century. Instead, with deep dialogue learning, you can interactively discuss topics of the course in bite-sized sessions with me. Like Socrates did back in the days with his students, our session will stimulate active, critical thinking. I'm guiding the conversation and helping you to share opinions and explore the subject until all important key aspects have been covered. The session concludes with a summarizing inner reflection. I'm Cynthia, and I improve students learning at IU International University because I personalize teaching and make it completely relevant to each student's needs. Ask me anything.
So this is our current version that all our students see in our online programs. And what we are now moving to is a more multi-agent setup, which we are just in the process of now rolling out to our first students, which enhances this function, also with a stronger focus on application. So we aim to more deeply integrate this into, given that online students, 90% of them are working and studying towards their job role and also educational opportunity, and doing this in a way that we obviously help them to move through their courses in the end also faster, but still maintain the learning objectives. To this end, we also developed a solution which, as Cynthia just mentioned, is an exam trainer, and also grades exam, and we are still, we are not allowed to use it in our grading, or at least this is the number of challenges around it. However, we also showed that it is an overall more just grading approach if you train an LLM that grades it, which is not surprising when you think about intersubjective differences between grading. Examination is maybe the area that is on the one hand most challenging, as we all know when we are in education, given the challenges with any kind of written piece that is not a proctored exam. However, we believe there is a great opportunity to move more towards a formative way of assessing. Obviously, when you think about this current summative approach with whatever document at the end, this is a bit less about the best way you can shape learning. If you would just observe the skill acquisition throughout the entire period, that would be great. It is, in the current format, it is very challenging to do so. If you just try to observe a person the entire time, it's just not possible to be done by humans, but with this technology, this becomes feasible, which is great. And hence, this is our at least vision, let's put it like this, that we move also to a more continuous formative assessment. As mentioned, we are working on this multi-agent setup in which the learning paths are fully personalized based on the entire communication history that you now can feed into these models as well. And thereby both learning from the individual learning preferences, but also across students to leverage all these insights to shape the best and most successful learning outcome for each and every student. We also looked at this in terms of two studies. On the one hand, that this actually reduces study time, and at the same time, it also improves, as I already mentioned, grading accuracy, so to say. One key thing is to drive usage as well as duration. This is our current data around this. We saw a huge increase in users by just putting it more in front of all students. We're now around 2/3 of our students use it regularly. On a monthly basis, we roughly have 2.8 million messages. Those students get high fast. They have an average duration of an hour. We see that with our new solution that is a significant higher duration, which is good. But I think this is key when you innovate those solutions. You need to look at the usage and what customer actually want, and thereby try to do your best and improve it. And there we come back with one more Slido. And we would need to, I think, change the presentation again to the Slido. Here we go. So what do you think in terms of, if everybody had such a personal AI tutor, what do you think is most transformative for education? And it is very broad, and obviously there's, I think, a nice saying by Peter Drucker, the best way to predict the future is to shape it, and obviously we are in a world where prediction is very, very challenging given the fast changes, but shaping it at least is one way of exploring it. This is what we try to do. Okay, let's see what stays on top. Currently reducing teacher workload and lifelong upskilling on demand. Lifelong upskilling on demand might increase. I mean, that is definitely one outcome here that as mentioned, as Open AI, as well as I think Anthropic as well, have seen that their major use cases are learning related. So ranging from positive, really shaping learning, but also a bit more negative, just solving your homework applications. So lifelong upskilling is number one, closing achievement gaps, close to personalized career pathway. Yes, there's also reducing teachers' workload. An interesting question is how it plays out across different talent levels. Now, obviously, this is number 5 according to this survey, but let's see. At least all studies that we've seen it is very broadly used through our student base. We looked at kind of different performing students. This at least is not a determining factor. And just one last one. Oops, if you go to the next slide on this Slido, please. So this is also one of the, I don't know, whether it's $1 million question, I'm not sure, but at least it is really important, what kind of skills will people need in this accelerating world? Is AI literacy the most important one? Is it still sector-specific knowledge? Or learning how to learn? Also without probing, at least learning how to learn is my favorite. It's getting up at least. Given this given this huge transformation, it is really, obviously now, critical thinking is on top, learning how to learn is the next one. We will need to learn much more, which is a great message for us educators. People will just have to learn so many more things, so much faster, which also does not only require learning how to learn, but also resilience. And I agree with this. Sector-specific knowledge is obviously the lowest relevant one. When we reflect on our current educational system, it is very much tailored towards sector-specific knowledge, and the question is whether this is right. Thank you very much. I like this. Okay, if we go back to the presentation. That was one too far. Okay, getting to the close. So obviously we see superhuman, it's called superintelligence emerging with many opportunities, many risks. Thinking about, the big challenges for mankind is humbling. And at least we will see co-creation. So whoever answered they're not using it daily, I really want to encourage all of you to use it on a daily basis. Jobs will change faster than we've ever seen in the entire history of humankind. As said, I believe curiosity and growth mindset will be key. And as an organization, you need to embrace it as an AI-first organization. However, to close on a positive note, I deeply believe this is also a great opportunity to augment our intelligence, and not the intelligence of educators alone, but obviously the intelligence of the entire humankind, which is great, but it is in the end up to humans to make this happen or do maybe not so positive things. Thank you very much.